Yes, good afternoon, class. Am I audible? Is PPT visible now? Tell me, because of network issue, this class was delayed. Now is it okay? My voice is clear? Yeah. So today we will see the another important condition of the root locus, that is angle and magnitude condition. And for the numericals which I have told you yesterday regarding the imaginary poles like 2 plus 1 plus j, 4 plus 2 plus j, like that. That are the complex poles. Yeah. Yesterday we have seen the simple poles numerical regarding root locus. So for the complex conjugate poles, we have to first learn the angle and magnitude conditions of this root locus. So what will be my outline of presentation today? First of all, introduction, then the condition which we have to study, that is angle and magnitude condition, construction of the root locus, and examples related with that. Yes? Okay. So introduction, consider a unity feedback system as shown in the figure, which is having an input R of S, and then forward path element, that is K divided by S plus 1, and it is a unity feedback system. That's why in the form of H of S, it is 1 only. The open loop transfer function G of S of the system will be open loop transfer function. So open loop transfer function will be K divided by S plus 1. That is open loop transfer function. Then if someone asks how to calculate the closed loop transfer function, the formula for calculating the closed loop transfer function is that G of S divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S equals to 0. So by simplifying this open loop transfer function, I can get the closed loop transfer function in this way. And the closed loop transfer function, see, C of S divided by R of S equals to G of S divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S. My transfer function will be K divided by GH plus 1. So if anyone asks you to calculate the closed loop transfer function when you are given the open loop transfer function, how to calculate the closed loop transfer function? G of S divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S. So G of S you would be given, that is open loop transfer function. You have to calculate the closed loop. Yes? Okay. So introduction. So what is the location of poles? Closed loop poles for the different value of K's. So K, I should be varied from zero point 0.5 up to say 15 terms. So I can vary the K from 0.5, that is 0.5, then 1. Then what will be my poles? So regarding that, table has been drawn. So these are my pole zero mappings. So if my pole will be minus 1.5, it will be on the right hand side. Then minus 2. Minus 2 pole means S plus 2, like that. So S equals to minus 2. So pole will be on minus 2 side. Similar way, minus 3, minus 4, minus 6, minus 11, and minus 16. These are plotted on S plane. Yes, as shown in the figure. So what is the root locus? You already know what actually root locus means. Root locus is a technique to calculate the stability of any system by seeing its pole zero mapping. So root locus is the path of the roots of the characteristic equation when traced out in the S plane as the parameter varies from 0 to infinity. This is the actual definition of root locus. Now, how to sketch the root locus? Yeah, everybody would be knowing how we can draw the root locus and all. So, in previous class, we have discussed some basic examples related to root locus, how to calculate, what are the steps involved in calculation of root locus. So one way is to compute the root locus of the characteristic equation of the all possible values of k. That is, if transfer function is given, say C of S divided by R of S equals to k divided by S plus 1 plus k. Now k is varied from 0.5 up to 15, so pole will be varied obviously. It will be minus 1.5, 2.3, minus 4, minus 6, minus 11, and then minus 16. So how to sketch the root locus for this pole. That is, they are simple poles, right? So compute all the root locus values. K might be tedious of the higher order, C of S divided by R of S. This is of four simple poles. In this numerical, what we can see that they are having poles at 0, -1, -10, and -20. So this numerical is based on simple poles, and four poles are there, and no zero is there. So we can compute that. So the construction of root loci, finding the root of the characteristic equation of the degree higher than 3. It is laborious or tedious. It will need a computer solution. So this MATLAB or with the help of MATLAB function, we can also draw the root locus by giving the input to the system. That is, we have to define poles and zeros of the system, say, and say there is command in root locus, say R locus. R locus means root locus. So R locus of, if I identified G of S, so R locus of G of S, then it will show the root locus of the system in MATLAB. So what we are doing in the theoretical part, so calculating the root locus, it will take nearly about half an hour practically. But in case of MATLAB, with the help of advanced software MATLAB, that is Matrix Laboratory, we can just calculate the root locus within minutes, couple of minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. And exactly how we are plotting that root locus curve finally on the graph page, that will be shown in the MATLAB. So it is mandatory being a third year student. So you would be having laptop or desktop, or if anyone is not having, then his or her brother, sister, or any nearby neighbor colleague would be having the laptop. So please install the MATLAB software in that, because we can plot the root locus. Also, we can plot the Nyquist plot, polar plot, Bode plot, in which will be coming in next class of the root locus. So a simple method of finding the root locus with the characteristic equation have been developed by this scientist has developed the root locus technique. The image is shown in the figure, that is W.R. Evans, and used extensively in the control system. So he is the man for the origin of the root locus. So this method is called as root locus method, which is one of the very important method to, with the help of characteristic equation, and are plotted for the values of the system parameter. So construction of root locus, the roots corresponding to particular values of this parameter can be located on the resulting graph. So at the end of my all calculation, what I am doing, I am plotting the root locus of that of my calculations. Okay. By using the root locus method, the designer can predict the effect of the location of closed loop poles of varying the gain value and adding open loop poles and open loop zeros. Yes. So now what actually the angle and magnitude conditions are there in case of root locus examples. So we have to study this method. Why? Because not all the time you will be asked the numericals of simple poles and simple zeros. There might be a numerical which will be having a complex poles. Yeah, we will see in upcoming classes. So what is this angle magnitude condition? Consider a system shown in the figure. R of S is your input, then summing point, G of S forward path gain, and H of S is feedback path gain. Yes, the closed loop transfer function of this system will be. Yes, closed loop transfer function. Anyone? Tell me, please unmute yourself and tell the closed loop transfer function of this. Just now I have told you. That will be my transfer function C of S divided by R of S. Yes, Sukesh?
सर क्या बोले?
What will be the closed loop transfer function of the diagram shown in the figure?
सर अगर ये पॉजिटिव और निगेटिव में रहा, अगर पॉजिटिव में रहा तो 1 - GSHS आता है, और निगेटिव में रहा तो फिर 1 +
Yes,
GSHS।
tell me in a mathematical formula, that is C of S by R of S equals to,
GS
that
डिवाइडेड
feedback
बाय,
H of S is negative sign.
हाँ
Yes,
निगेटिव तो 1+ आएगा ना
C of,
सर।
yes, tell me what will be the closed loop transfer function of this system? C of S by R of S equals to?
GS डिवाइडेड बाय 1 + GSHS।
Yes, exactly. So this is the closed loop transfer function of my system. C of S by R of S equals to GS divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S. Why this plus sign is coming? Because H of S is having negative feedback. If there would be a positive feedback when H of S is meeting the same point with positive sign, then in the transfer function, what will be my sign of the transfer function? GS divided by 1 minus GS into HS. So the construction of root locus, the characteristic equation obtained by setting the denominator polynomial which is equal to 0. So this is my characteristic equation. Characteristic equation C equals to 1 plus G of S into H of S equals to 0, right? Or G of S into H of S is equal to -1. I can say that in this numerical G of S into H of S equals to -1. Yes. Yes, since G of S into H of S is a complex quantity, it can be split into angle and its magnitude part. So rewriting the above equation, 1 plus G of S into H of S equals to 0. What will be my G of S into H of S equals to -1. So angle and magnitude condition. What actually this means, we have to see that. So the angle condition, see now the angle condition of G of S into H of S equals to -1 is, see, angle of G of S into H of S equals to angle of -1, or else I can write angle of G of S into H of S equals to plus minus 180 degree into, in bracket, 2k plus 1, where k is varied from 1, 2 and 3 in this case. So what will be my angle condition of any given characteristic equation? Angle of that term, it should be equals to angle of that conditions. And what is that magnitude condition? The magnitude condition of G of S into H of S equals to -1. So take that -1 into mod form, that is mod of G of S into H of S equals to mod of -1. Mod of -1 means it will become 1. So mod of G of S into H of S equals to 1. This is your magnitude condition. So angle and magnitude conditions, angle of G of S into H of S equals to plus minus 180 degree into 2k plus 1, where k is varied from 1, 2 and then 3. Similar way, what will be my magnitude condition? Just now I have told magnitude of G of S into H of S equals to 1. This is your magnitude condition. So the value of S that fulfills both the angle and magnitude condition are the roots of the characteristic equation, or it is closed loop poles. Yes, are you getting? See, I am repeating once again. The value of S that fulfills both, means both condition, means this angle condition and then magnitude condition. These are the roots of the characteristic equation or the closed loop poles. Yes. So what are the steps to construct the root locus of this with the help of angle condition and then magnitude condition? Step 1. The first step in construction of the root locus is to locate the open loop poles and zeros in the S-plane. So if my transfer function is given as g of s into h of s equals to k divided by s plus 1 and s plus 2, then my one pole is at 0, again another pole is at -1 and then -2. So a block diagram for this transfer function, it is given as r of s equals to k divided by s plus 1 and then s plus 2. So I have to first of all plot these poles and zeros. So in this case, there are 3 poles. One pole is at 0. Again, another pole is at -1 and another pole is at -2. So first of all, we have to map the pole 0 mapping. So angle, now see, angle is angle of s minus angle of s plus 1 minus angle of s plus 2. Means here 3 poles are there. So all the 3 poles, I have to take the angle. So angle of first pole, it is angle of s is 0 minus angle of s plus 1 minus angle of s plus 2. In this case, there are no zeros. That's why I have not taken the angle of zeros. Only the poles which are having 0, s plus 1 and s plus 2, there only I have taken the angle condition. So what is my next step? Determine root locus on the real axis. So to determine the root locus on the real axis, we select some of the test points. Example, P1 on positive real axis. So I will be saying that it is one point P1 which is on right hand side. So angle of s plus 1, s plus 2, it would be equal to 0. The angle condition is not satisfied. Why? Because it is coming 0. Should come pi. The angle condition is not satisfied then. Hence, the root locus in the positive real axis, means in the positive real axis there will not be any root locus existing on the right hand side. My root locus will be existing on the left hand side of the S-plane only. So what is my next step? Determine the root locus on the real axis. Now next, select the test points on the negative real axis, that is the axis between 0 and -1. So if my point is between the axis 0 and then -1, first of all I have to check it is the breakaway point or the valid point, it is lying on the root locus region or non-root locus region. So point P2, it is obviously lying in the root locus region. Why? Because on the second pole, if I see, there is only one pole on the right hand side which is at 0. So this is root locus region, it is odd number. So now coming to third pole, if I see on the third pole where there are even numbers of pole on the right hand side, means that region is not the root locus region. Here this region is not root locus region. This P2 region, it is root locus region. Yes. So angle of s equals to -180 degree, then angle of s plus 1 equals to angle of s plus 2, it is equals to 0. Thus, by taking all the angles of respective poles, that is one pole is at 0, again another pole is at s plus 1, next pole is at s plus 2. So summing all these poles, it should be equals to -180 degree. That is angle of minus s minus angle of s plus 1 minus angle of s plus 2 equals to -180 degree. Hence, the angle condition is satisfied. Why? Because it is equal to -180. The angle condition is satisfied. Therefore, the portion of the negative real axis between 0 and -1 from a portion of the root locus. See now next step. Now if I select the test point on the real axis, it is between second pole and third pole as shown in the figure, that is -1 and -2. Then the angle of s equals to angle of s plus 1 equals to 180 degree, and alone the angle of s plus 2 equals to 0 degree. Thus, by summing all the angles, that is angle of s minus angle of s plus 1 minus angle of s plus 2, it is now coming minus 380 degree, minus 360 degree. Hence, the angle condition is not satisfied in this case. For the angle condition to be satisfied, the summation of all your poles, it should be coming up to minus 180 degree. Then only your condition is satisfied. In this case, my summation of all angle, it is coming minus 360 degree. Therefore, it is not a valid. Therefore, the angle condition is not satisfied in this case. Why? Because point also lying on the non-root locus region, and also the summation of all the poles, it is coming at minus 360 degree, which is not justifiable. Thus, there does not exist a root locus between the points minus 1 and minus 2. It is not a part of the root locus. So now determine the root locus on the real axis. Similarly, the test points on the negative real axis will be in between minus 2 and then infinity. So there it can exist a root locus. Why? Because see, now point P4, on point P4 I can see odd number of poles on the right hand side, means 1, 2 and then 3. Odd number of poles are there, means this region is root locus region. There it can exist a root locus between minus 2 and infinity point. Okay, now then the angle condition is now satisfied. Therefore, the negative real part of axis between minus 2 and minus infinity is a part of root locus. Yes, have you all understood the conditions for existence of root locus? So now determine the root locus on the real axis. See, there, which I have marked with a red symbol, there it can a root locus of this system, but there will not be a root locus between pole 2 and 3. Why? Because it is non-root locus region. This region is root locus region, and this red portion it is marked, it is root locus region. Therefore, there it can exist a root locus. So determine the asymptotes of the root loci, that is root loci is far away from the origin. So I am having the formula to calculate asymptotes. Yes, asymptote equals to, that is P minus Z. P means your number of poles present in your system, and Z is number of zeros. So P minus Z is your asymptotes. So asymptote is a straight line passing through the curve. Yes, asymptote, I have already said that the angle of asymptote, it will lie from the centroid only. Yes, centroid formula, summation of real parts of pole minus summation of real part of zeros divided by P minus Z. Yes, that is formula to calculate angle of asymptotes. And then this angle of asymptote, it will lie from centroid only. Yes, this is the formula to calculate the angle of asymptote. That is 2k plus 1 into 180 degree divided by n minus m. In this case, n is your pole and m is your zeros. What we have seen, P means pole and Z means zero. In this, they have used another notations where n is number of poles and m is number of zeros. Okay, so the formula to calculate angle of asymptote, they have denoted with psi. Psi equals to 180 into 2k plus 1 divided by n minus m, where k is varied from 0, 1 and then 2. So for example, see, the transfer function is there, g of s into h of s equals to k divided by s plus 1 and then s plus 2. Now tell me, there are 3 number of poles and zeros are available. So how many angle of asymptote will be there? There will be 3 angle of asymptotes. Why? Because P minus Z means number of pole minus number of zeros. It is coming 3. That's why angle of asymptote will be 3. So formula to calculate angle of asymptote, psi equals to 180 into 2k plus 1 divided by n minus m, where k is varied from 0, 1 and just 2. Yes, so I have calculated. So for example, how we can calculate? psi equals to, put the value of k equals to 0 in first case, then I will get theta 1 equals to 60 degree. Why? Because 2 into 0, 0, 0 plus 1 into 180, 180 divided by 3, it is coming 60 degree. Now vary the value of k as 1. So 2 into 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 into 180 divided by 3. So it will be coming 180 degree. Theta 2 or psi 2. Here they have mentioned psi 2. So psi 2 is 180 degree. Similarly, psi 3 is 100 degree. Since the angle repeats itself as the k is varied from the distinct angle of is 60 degree, 180 degree, and then 100 degree. So now determine the asymptote of. So yes, now construction of the root locus, that is step 3. Now you can determine the asymptotes of the root locus. Yes. So before we can draw these asymptotes in the complex plane, we need to find the point where they intersects on the real axis. So the formula to calculate the centroid, that is the summation of real part of pole minus summation of real parts of zeros divided by p minus z or n minus m. In this case, n is your number of poles and m is your number of zeros. So point of intersection of the asymptotes on the real axis is your centroid. So say for example, g of s and h of s, it is given as k divided by s, s plus 1 and s plus 2. This is your transfer function. So k divided by s, s plus 1 and then s plus 2. It will be when it will be approaching to the 0, then the summation of real part of pole, that is minus 1 minus 2 minus 0 divided by 3. This is your centroid. Centroid is coming minus 3 by 3. It is around 1. So minus 1 is your centroid for this case. And from this centroid, your angle of asymptote will be arriving in the case of root locus. So here we have plotted the pole 0 mapping. One pole is at 0. Again, another pole is at minus 1 and next pole is at minus 2. And minus 1 is my angle of asymptote. In this case, from the minus 1, that is your centroid, I can draw the angle of asymptote, that is 60 degree and then 300 degree and then 180 degree. We have calculated this angle of asymptote, that is psi 1, psi 2 and then psi 3. So what psi 1, it has come, it is 60 degree by putting the formula that 2k plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z. Yes, k is varied from 0, 1 and then 2. So psi 1 it was 60 degree, psi 2 it was 180 degree and then psi 3 it is around 300 degrees. So this angle of asymptotes, they are plotted from the centroid only. Yes, that was the function of our centroid calculation. Yes, now determine the breakaway points. You know how to calculate the breakaway points. So for calculating breakaway point, I have to take the characteristic equation, that is 1 plus g of s into h of s equals to 0. Yes. The breakaway point or break-in point from the root locus branches will leave or arrives the real axis. So determine the breakaway point or the break-in point. So I have told you yesterday only that for calculation of breakaway point, I have to take characteristic equation, and from that I have to separate the value of k and then differentiate first the derivative of that k with respect to s will be equal to 0. It should be noted that all the solutions of dk by df it will be 0 corresponding to the actual breakaway point. Yes. If the breakaway point dk by ds is on the root locus, then it is actual break-in point or breakaway point. Yes, I have told you yesterday only, the breakaway point which is lying in the root locus region, that is valid breakaway point, and the breakaway point which is not lying in the root locus region, means on non-root locus region, that is not the actual or the valid breakaway point or break-in point. So the characteristic in my case is that g of s into h of s, it was given k divided by s, s plus 1 and s plus 2. So now to calculate the characteristic equation, what I have to do? 1 plus g of s into h of s equals to 0. So k, it is coming k by s, s plus 1, s plus 2 equals to minus 1. So now I will do the first derivative, that is dk by ds. By solving this equation, I will get the two breakaway points. See, for this equation, set dk by ds equals to 0. In order to determine the breakaway point, my equation is minus 3s square minus 6x minus 2. So in calculus, you have to do the simplification and then get the values for the breakaway point, and then we can check which is valid and which are invalid breakaway point. So first it is coming minus 0.4226, and then next root is minus 1.5774. So this I have to check, means whether both the roots are lying in the root locus region or both the roots are valid roots or not. I have to check that. So determine the breakaway point or break-in point. S equals to minus 0.4226 and then S equals to minus 1.5774. This was the breakaway point. Breakaway point for my given transfer function g of s into h of s equals to k divided by s, s plus 1 and then s plus 2. Since the breakaway point needs to be on the root locus, it should be between 0 and minus 1 because this region is root locus region. Now it is clear that my root minus 0.4226 corresponds to actual breakaway point. Why? Because it is lying in the root locus region, and minus 1.5774 is not a root locus. Why? Because it is not lying in the root locus region. Now see, the black dot it is shown, that is my root minus 0.4226. This is my valid breakaway point. And sigma, that is with red dot, it is my centroid part. So from centroid, I will draw the breakaway points. My first breakaway point, angle of asymptote, it was psi equals to 60 degree. Third one 300 degree, and second one it is 180 degree. So looking like that. So the black dot shows the valid breakaway point. From this point, my root locus will start on the x-axis, but on imaginary axis where it should be meeting. So for that, I have to take the breakaway point, and then I have to calculate the omega max value. Means omega max means on the j omega axis where my root locus will meet. For present system, the characteristic equation is s cube plus 3s square plus 2s plus k. Now with the help of Routh-Hurwitz criteria, solve this equation and find the value of k marginal and omega max value. So it would be coming like equating both the terms. See, omega max it is coming plus minus root 2 means plus minus j 1.414. So my root locus will meet on the imaginary axis at plus minus root 2 j. So this is the actual root locus. By plotting all my calculations, you will see the root locus would be looking like that. We have marked all the pole zero mapping and then centroid, also the angle of asymptotes. Also we have find out the value of k marginal and then omega max value, that is plus minus root 2 j. So after solving all the calculation, I need to plot this root locus on the graph page only. In university, you will be provided the graph page, will be drawn on the graph page itself, not on the blank. Yes, all of you got that? Okay. So this is MATLAB. The representation of the root locus. So if you plot the say root locus of the above given equation in MATLAB command, you can find the root locus will be looking like that. So on the valid breakaway points are minus 0.412, and then I have plotted the pole zero mapping, that is one pole is at 0, -1 and -2, and on j omega axis it will, the root locus is meeting at plus minus root 2j. Yes. So this is another example how to determine the breakaway points. So the transfer function, it is given as k s minus 3 s minus 5 divided by s plus 1 and then s plus 2. In this case, I am having two poles and two zeros. Yes. I am telling to calculate breakaway points only. Yeah. Breakaway points or break-in points. Right. So how to calculate the breakaway point or break-in point in case when there is there exists a zero in my system? So you have to do the derivative, that is u by v, derivative of u by v rule, uv rule. So k, I will be solving with the help of uv rule. So dk by ds, s square minus 8s plus 15, and then 2s plus 3 minus s square plus 3s plus 2 in bracket 2s minus 8 divided by the u derivative of v minus v derivative of u divided by v square. This is the formula of derivative of u by v. So similar way, you have to apply this derivative rule on this numerator and denominator part, considering numerator as u and denominator as v. U derivative of v minus v derivative of u divided by v square. So the dk by ds would be coming like this. My final solution will be 11s square minus 26s minus 61. So you can now easily simplify that. 11s square minus 26s minus 61. In Calc, you can put this equation and then find out the roots. So it will be coming s1 equals to minus 1.45, and then s2 it would be coming 3.82. So now actually what angle condition is? So I have calculated s equals to minus 1.45 and then minus 3.82. This was in general. Okay, now calculating the angle condition. So angle s equals to minus 1.45. For 1.45 I am taking, first of all, I will take the pole minus 1.45. So put the value of s equals to minus 1.45. So minus 1.45, angle of s minus 3 plus angle of s minus flat minus angle of s plus 1 minus angle of s plus 2. So poles and zeros. So where there is s, I have to keep the value of s as minus 1.45. Then after solving the angle condition, what will be my value of s? So it will be coming minus 540 degree. So as 540 is the multiple of 180, so this root is valid root. Minus 1.45 is valid root. Why? Because its calculation of angle condition, it is coming minus 540 degree, and which is the multiple of 180 degree. So this breakaway point or breaking point, it is valid breaking point. Now check for 3.82 on similar way. So put 3.82 where there is s. So angle of 3.82, angle of s minus 3 plus angle of s plus 5 minus angle of s plus 1 minus angle of s plus 2 equals to 0 minus 180. So it is coming minus 180. So this is also your valid root. So in this case, in this numerical, there were two valid breakaway points. So from these two breakaway point, my root locus will be existing. See, minus 3.82 and minus 3.82 and then minus 1.45. This is my actual breakaway point. So these are valid breakaway points. So have you understood the concept of root locus with the help of angle and magnitude conditions? So in further class, we will be seeing more numericals on angle and magnitude conditions. So till then, have a nice day. Stay at home and stay safe. If anyone is having any doubt, please unmute yourself and then we can discuss. Attendance link is provided in the chat box. Please mark your attendance. Thank you, class.